This basically means that you can't ask your tenants to leave for no reason anymore. Okay, I get asked about this one a lot. New legislation as of May last year. It's not so new, but just a refresher because some people still have no idea that this has passed. Unless you're in the business or if you own a property and you've had this experience. I'll read through what fair trading says and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Landlords can no longer issue no grounds termination notices to end tenancies. Landlords must now rely on a valid ground prescribed under the legislation, including selling, the owner or a family member moving into the property, significant renovations, demolition or other approved grounds. The termination notice must specify the reason. Key point, you need to tell them why you're asking them to leave. Supporting evidence must be provided. Supporting evidence being signed statements from you, the owner, in some cases statements from builders, in other cases from family members if that's the reason that you're going with for the termination, but I'll touch more on that in a sec. Another important change is the introduction of exclusion periods. Where a tenancy is terminated for certain reasons, restrictions apply to when the property can be relet. Exclusion periods range from 4 weeks to 6 months. New South Wales Fair Trading may investigate notices that are not genuine and significant penalties can apply where termination notices are issued on false grounds. This basically means that you can't ask your tenants to leave for no reason anymore. You need to give them a valid reason. If you just say that you're moving in and then you've got the idea of evicting them and then just saying that you changed your mind, you don't want to move in anymore and you want to put it back on the market, you can no longer do that. There's an exclusion period of 6 months. If you put it back on the market, if it's released within that period, the agent can be fined. It's a problem for everyone. I read somewhere that there was some, let's call them smart investors that tried to find the loophole and issue a termination to a tenant saying that they're moving in and then pull the property from that agent, give it to a new agent and ask them to just lease it as they normally would. That's also illegal. You can't do that and there are fairly serious repercussions for taking that action and the exclusion periods still apply. It just means that it's getting a lot more difficult to get your property back. Some people might say it's my property, the tenant needs to leave, I want it back. Yes, it is your property, but you need to follow the legislation and provide a valid reason. The big thing for me is the exclusion period where you can't rent it again for months. Definitely something to consider if you've got a tenant and you need to get your property back. Give us a call if you need any advice or call your agent. If you're self-managing, you can call us, no problem. If you own a property and you're an investor and this applies to you, keen to hear your thoughts in the comments. That's all for now.